Did you know that butterflies taste with their feet? I find out weird stuff every damn day on the internet. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Playbook Podcast with Prescott Kelly. I'm your host, Prescott Kelly. Today is Wednesday, February 11th. Glad to have you back with us. I got the one and only LaShawn Brown with me. We're going to talk a lot of weird stuff, a lot of things that I got to get off my chest personally. I let him vent about the Browns. I got things I got to get off my chest about my victory laps and I told you so's when it comes to quarterback salaries and things like that. But anyway, LaShawn, always good to have you back with me. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. As always. Now, I asked what you were watching in the background. You said some mock draft stuff. So I want to get to that later on because as somebody who doesn't really watch a whole lot of college football, I don't feel like I deem myself worthy enough to speak on the subject as somebody like yourself. But I do want to make sure that you get to it and kind of give your opinion on, because it's never too early to talk mock drafts and mock turtlenecks, right? It's never.
I've been doing the mock draft since like week 8 last season, man. So I've
Once
been
you thought that Sam Darnold might get benched because he started playing light cheeks the last 2 months of the season? No, you ain't doing that?
No. Cannot.
Okay, so we won't go there. But before we get too much in the episode, this is kind of an impromptu thing because my plan was to do something later on in the afternoon, but I checked my Buzzsprout. I got a notification from Buzzsprout, and they told me, hey, a lot of people chimed into your podcast recently. And I thought, you know what? Let's get the momentum going. So I popped in. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, smash the 5-star reviews wherever you get your podcast for free. And the people who join with me are the reason why this thing is so successful. I can only imagine because you're not here just to hear my dumbass voice. So when we, I do have to take my victory lap on quarterback salaries and how you can win, because I've always been told that the way to win the NFL is you have to do it through rookie quarterback salary scale and build around. Is that the narrative that you've been told? Because that's what I've been told my entire life. Or either that or you have Patrick Mahomes.
It's because the cap goes up every season. I say since 2022, the cap has ballooned. It went from like 220 something. Now it's up to $302 million.
I didn't realize it was over 300 yet. I knew it was about that 280 mark, but I didn't realize it hit 300
Oh,
yet.
Yeah. It's going to be 302 going into this offseason now. Now it used to be that, but now it's what's the percentage of the cap that the quarterback is taking. So,
well, the percentage is still relatively the same. Like your top tier guys, I feel like the percentage is the same, but the money keeps going up.
The money goes up when they get the extension, but the percentages goes down. Like I'll say this: Lamar Jackson, he was taking up 23% of the Ravens cap. So going into next season is going to be down to 19 because the cap went up.
Oh, that's okay. I see what you're saying. Got you.
Yeah. So that's what it comes down to is the percentage now. Like Mahomes, he's making 45 million. So
that's like 16, 17%.
Exactly. So it isn't much. I mean, I get it that it's a bargain. I'll say it's a bargain now. So, but yeah, it used to be a rookie scale contract, build around him, and then when he gets that extension, you will be hoping that he's taking that next leap in his progression. And now it's coming down to percentage of the cap space. So,
well, and I think that's the point that I've always kind of made. Like the percentage portion, not so much, but I would like to think that I wouldn't have to explain it down to that kind of numerology. But the way that I've put this out into the universe is that teams are trying to out Patrick Mahomes. And I've been saying for years, stop doing that. Like, stop paying the next quarterback who's up. And I'm not sure if you've listened to the show that far back, but that's been a pretty consistent theory of mine.
That's the name of the game, man. You got to pay them.
But
this is like with starting pitchers in Major League. If you have an elite pitcher, you got to pay them early because as they progress later on into their careers, let's just say they don't have to get Tommy John surgery and they're still pitching at an elite level. You got to pay them that money before they hit
Man,
that.
that if is real deep though. Now it seems like everybody's getting it.
Yeah, you got to. That's the name of the game. It's a quarterback league. Like I get it that we seen that a running back won Super Bowl MVP since Terrell Davis, the first since Terrell Davis.
Yep.
And now I'm starting to read that running backs do matter. No, they don't. They don't even get paid more than a tight end, man.
Your feet will be firmly planted on that take until the day that you die.
Forever. We're not going back to those days where you give the running back 350 carries a season and saying he's going to be around for 10 plus years.
Derrick Henry is the anomaly. He is not the standard.
Thank you for saying that, because there has been people that's been saying Derrick Henry, he can do a lot of heavy carrying. I'm like, he's the only guy in the league that can do that, because he's 6'3", 240 pounds.
Yeah, that's the way that I'm built, which is kind of absurd.
Are you gonna run through people?
No, I'm running away from them, dog. I'm not 240, I'm 220, but I still don't. Me and him are not the same.
Yeah, and people think that's exactly what's going on. I'm like, you won't have an Emmitt Smith anymore. You're not lasting 17, 18 years in the NFL.
Derrick Henry, I think, is the one person I think who could potentially get to the rushing record at some point, but it has to be it's only if, especially if he stays in Baltimore, Lamar has to get more to first 4 or 5 years Lamar than the last 2 or 3 years, where Lamar becomes more of the distraction, where he can get to the second level. That's the only way I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if he's going to stay in that situation, that's the only way I think that Henry could potentially break that record. If he plays for 5 or 6 more years,
he'll get
on the table at least.
I'll say he'll probably, at the end of his career, he'll probably be, let's just say if he plays 5 or 6 more years, even if he's rushing for 1,000, he'll probably be second or third all time.
Right.
Now the touchdowns, he'll probably finish second or third there. Because I think he has over 100.
It's so weird too, because I don't know if you remember this, and I know we're getting a little off topic because, spoiler alert, that's what we do here. Do you remember the first 2 years or so of his career where people were calling him a bust?
Yep.
Because I do.
Yep.
But nobody remembers that dude. And that is why, again, I'm going back to the quarterback stuff. I've been telling y'all, and I know you said with the quarterbacks you got to pay them, and I'm keep saying you don't have to.
You don't have to if you have a middle role quarterback that can keep you above water, he can get you to the playoffs, but he can't win you that big game. He can't win you the conference championship game to get you to the Super Bowl. But if you're content with that, go ahead, give him I say an average contract. The average right now is about 41, 42 million a year.
Well, see, in the things you're not wrong as far as where that lands. The problem that I have with just the way that we approach this conversation is that, well, we'll just do that. And I had this conversation with Jonathan Mathis in California from the Sports Judge last week, is that there's two sides of the coin. Just because you, as the hypothetical GM, well, if I could pay him $30 million to be my starting quarterback, I would, doesn't mean the starting quarterback who just won the Super Bowl is going to go. And I'm just using that in a vacuum, but as a collective starting quarterback pay, once your rookie guy is up, the fans and ownership think we can't lose this guy. And that's why you pay guys like Blake Bortles and like Jimmy Garoppolo and like Jared Goff the first time. There's numerous counts of guys who have gotten crazy bags because the fan base and ownership go, we don't want to look stupid. This guy got us to the playoffs finally. And
that's the thing. That's the one thing, because just prior to their contracts being up, that season, those guys go off. Somehow, some way, they go off.
Albert Hainsworth is the king of this.
Hey, man, listen. I've never seen a defensive tackle, especially, I'll say this is about 12, 14 years ago, that he got that big contract. And I was thinking, 7 years, $100 million. I'm like, No, if a defensive tackle at that, like Aaron Donald, yeah, you go ahead, you give him that blank check, and you like whatever you want, big boy. But Albert Hainsworth, no, especially like he had got suspended. I think like a season or two before he had got that contract because he stepped on somebody's head and like he got suspended for the rest of the season.
It's weird because we have the cultural shift has changed so much of what we find valuable. I know the game has changed, but like you just talked about Albert Hainsworth. It wasn't that long because we always talk about we romanticize about football the way that it used to be.
And it's not
It wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that long ago, but man, the game has changed, man. That like I get that fans want to bring back the running backs. You can, but at the same time, you're gonna have them for like I say at most 5 years.
Well, see, and that's why I've always had there's two my thought process when it comes to drafting is much different than other people. And I'm kind of okay with that because I largely try to be right. Even though I don't watch a lot of college football, just knowing where the game is going and recognizing what deficiencies are. When it comes to running backs, I don't have a problem with you drafting one high if everything around you is great. So like Bijan Robinson, I thought was a little bit of a reach, but I know how good he was. Ashton Genty, to me, I think is still going to be a great player. That's too early to draft him when you're the Raiders.
He still got Genty. I picked him on my dynasty team, and I'm like, I felt so bad doing it because I'm just like, he's a two-down running back.
But you love Clinton Kubiak.
I do. It's because listen, his father has the greatest running back system of all time. Him and Mike Shanahan, they came up with that wide zone, and they developed running backs like it was nothing, man. I'm like, he had what's his name, Arian Foster for Houston.
Yep.
Gary Kubiak had him up there in Houston. He was like I think like a undrafted free agent, comes in, busts his ass, and then all of a sudden he's a household name, all because of that system.
I remember back in the mid 2000s playing Madden, and I was trading for Orlandis Gary because of
that's a throwback name, man, for the Broncos, man. Yeah, listen, I'm telling you.
Ruben Drones,
because he played with the Browns after he left the Broncos, man. I'm like, you can as a running back, you should love that system. A wide zone, you should love that system. Love it. I don't know why more teams don't go with it.
But see, that's well, I think that's the problem is that every coach wants to kind of leave their mark as what they're remembered for, and I feel like there are some people who are okay with being associated with the tree because, and look, I'm just speaking out of life experiences more than anything else. Mm-hmm. People largely want to stay with what they're comfortable with, and if I can keep with the nepotism and I can keep with what works with the job security, like a Kubiak, like a Shanahan, I'll keep doing what works because my name's still going to be in the circulation, even if it doesn't work. It's I didn't have the players, or I didn't have the support staff.
His GM didn't give me the players.
There's always a fallback because I have the system behind me. And
that's the reason why Kyle Shanahan is still in San Francisco. Like,
who are you more pro team? Team Kubiak or Team Shanahan? Because that was
Kubiak. Because we have seen Shanahan on the stage so many times, and he has failed every single time. He's been to the Super Bowl 3 times, once as an offensive coordinator with the Falcons, 2 times as a head coach with the 49ers.
That is okay. That is fair.
And he has not came through. I am tired of, putting my hopes behind him. Can't do it no more. Can't do it.
See, this is like you are basically a Bills fan, but with Shanahan as opposed to the Buffalo Bills. Like, I can't do it no more, man. Like I'm tired of being broken by this.
And, man, all right, I get it that they lost to the Seahawks. The Seahawks, they won it all. But at the same time, it's just like
off of them.
Yeah, there's no excuse with the 49ers anymore. I don't care how many injuries they have. Like, you're supposed to be this offensive wizard. You can make anybody go ahead and win a Super Bowl, win one. That's all I want. One Super Bowl.
Well, I think this is the thing that Shanahan gets. Well, the credit that he gets is that he wins with anybody.
Yeah.
Like the thing that's stupid is in my mind, I still can't wrap my head around the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo has been to 2 Super Bowls as a starting quarterback. I lose sleep over that at night. It's bananas to me. So like I get why you would keep him, but that's the whole reason why you made the jump to go get Trey Lance, right? Is like you can win with anybody. So
and they traded 3 first-round picks for him.
Do you think that Trey Lance is getting a bad rep and that he could be a starting quarterback?
No.
Or he's just done?
He's just done. Like, you would think saying the team would have gave him the keys to the car and be like, here, show us something. But he's still, second, third string? That COVID year did a lot of damage to him.
He's in, yeah. But he's with the Chargers now, right? Yeah,
he's with the Chargers.
Well, see, like I feel like that's the whole, and this is kind of goes back to the original talking point of Sam Darnold, is that now everyone is just saying, well, just win with a Sam Darnold, and it's largely that's kind of been my point is you can win, but I think what irritates me the most is that whatever just happens seems to be the recipe, right?
Like you would think that teams want to start copycatting that.
Exactly, because like with the Seahawks win the back-to-back championships, they're like not one but went to like, well, that's how you win. And I feel like that's where the narrative started was the Russell Wilson years, and then the Chiefs had because the Tom Brady was never the highest paid quarterback, but they always won. And Mahomes has never been the highest paid quarterback, I don't believe, maybe except for his first year.
Just the first year. That first year after that extension. After that, nope.
And people are like, oh, well, now you have to have the superstar quarterback, and everyone's chasing Mahomes, and they got the Lawrences and the Tuas and the Allens and the Burrows, and like name every single person under the sun who isn't named Jalen Hurts, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
None of them, Justin Herbert, have not been to Super Bowl, and most of them haven't been to an AFC or just a championship game, period. So whatever just happened seems to be the way that you need to go. And if you think that mid-level quarterbacks are the way to go, Geno Smith is waiting for a phone call, dog.
Oh my goodness! Don't do this! Don't do this, bro.
I like to stir the pot.
Because now the Raiders gonna let him go. It's gonna be that middle of the pack team that's gonna pick up Geno, and they're gonna think, Sam, we can make light in the bottle with this guy.
But see that's my whole point. Is that I'm taking my victory lap on. I do feel like you can win a Super Bowl with a mediocre quarterback. And to me, like Sam Darnold is mediocre. Like you and I in the chat earlier, you said that if he plays at an elite level, and the thing is, he's had a year and a half of elite regular season play. But he bombed last year in the playoffs and the last 2 weeks of the season. And then he was awful the second half of the season. But he showed up. If he would have won Super Bowl MVP, it's because of how he played against the Rams the week beforehand or 2 weeks beforehand.
I wish they gave it to a defensive player because the Seahawks defense, they did their thing.
I would have liked to have seen that happen, but the thing is that they were so awesome. Who the hell do you give it to?
I would have gave it a Hall. He was on the right side, on the left side, causing havoc, and it was just like, man, he was all over May, all over him. So
I have a problem. Like, I feel like if Witherspoon's sacks or if his stats look different, I think that he would have won MVP because of the way that it happened with Owosu getting the fumble recovery for it because it doesn't count as a sack.
Yep.
It doesn't count as an interception. It just counts as a fumble caused.
Yeah, and in which, in my opinion, I that's the interception. Like, even if you want to call it a fumble, it was still up there in the air. He caught it and took it back to the house. It should have been a pick six, but they call it.
But even still, if it's a pick, then that means that it's not a sack for Witherspoon. Like that's like we're really dicing the stats, and that's where I think this thing irritates me so much. Of like we're parsing so much about the impact. I read a stat that Witherspoon only blitzed 21 times the entire season and blitzed 7 times in the Super Bowl and got pressure 6 of them.
To me, that that tells me that McDonald saw something on film.
He had it in the
against
bag.
the Patriots.
And he wasn't even because you're right. When you talk about leading up to the Super Bowl, it was all about how bad Will Campbell has been. So what are you going to do? Slide protect, and even still, they slip protection. That still was no help. So when you slide protection, what are you going to do? Just smash him off the right side.
Yeah, because now you got an unblocked guy that's unaccounted for. That running back is he's on that left side helping out that left tackle, in which he's supposed to be up there on the right side. But at the same time, you can't do things at the same time unless you're going to go max protect, and you're not max protecting against them because they're going to rush 4 and drop 7, and you only got 3 guys running out there in the route.
And they could have done the entire game. They could have done exactly that the entire game.
Yeah.
But they pick and chose to just with us. But let's get. He made Drake Maye look like Drake from Degrassi, dude. It was crazy.
It was a long night for Drake Maye, man. I'm sorry to say that. Like, as a quarterback, it was a lot. You could just say it was a lot on him. Like, he knew that in order for them to win, he had to do all of the carrying. Like, they couldn't run the ball at all. Like,
well, how much of that do you put on McDaniels then? Because going into the game, a lot of people thought that Vrabel and McDaniels would have the coaching advantage because they've been there so much. So I put a lot of that on McDaniels too.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You would think with those two coaches, with their experience that they've been through, especially in these games, that they would have slowed the game down. They would have slowed that rush down, throw a few screens or whatnot. But they didn't do that at all. It was like hot routes and everything. Like, I get it. You want to throw a couple quick passes, but at the same time, you're not helping yourself. You can't slow down that rush.
So I think what irritated me the most was we had been hearing all week about how poor Henderson's pass blocking is. Why would you not at least at some point in time try to use that against Seattle? Like you said, with the screen game, use them, slow them down, give them. They were teeing off on this dude from the first play of the game. And they had no answers for it. There was no. Well, it's a good thing that Mike Vrabel played Bad Bunny and had a 40-minute break in their practices to simulate the halftime. At least that was great coaching.
He's dumb. It was a horrible offensive game plan. Defensively, they held their own in the red zone, because I say outside of the red zone, Seattle went up and down the field, but whenever they got in the red zone, they stifled themselves.
Well, I think what's so funny too is like the one thing about football, like, so again, I love football for the one game sample size, but I think what it happens is it kind of blurs how we actually think about how these games matter, where like one play can really change things. The very first pass play of Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl, if that gets picked off, the entire game plan changes.
Jones was right there. I don't know what he was thinking, but he was just a half second late. And that's the difference in football. A half second. Just a step. If you miss that, and as you can see, the game turned itself upon it, because you could have set the standard right there, set the tone with that pick. It could have been a pick 6, because I don't think Sam would have caught him.
No, but it's just like it's kind of the way that I feel about Josh Allen's. Like it's an interceptable ball that didn't happen. It's still a bad placement. It's still whether it's placement or decision, it's still poor. And just because you got away with it doesn't mean that you should do it again. Now Seattle still continued to throw the ball, but I mean, if the outcome was different, man, the entire script of how McDonald and how they're going to play offense, I believe, changes immediately if his first pass is picked off.
Yeah, I think they'd have probably been more conservative. Like, I get it that Kenneth Walker went off.
But if you're expecting Walker more.
Yeah, you're expecting Walker more. Even the backup running back, he got some yards.
Oh,
that's what I was talked about. No, not Charbonnet, Halani.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah, I've never heard of the guy, never saw the guy before, but he came up there, he got some carries, got some yards. I'm like, man, that Seattle offensive line, they made sure to put those Patriots down, man.
it was just a weird. I was really expecting more just from the coaching aspect, just because Vrabel and McDaniels have been there so many times. I figured there would be some kind of adjustment, and
I think they
wasn't.
had three 4th-and-1s, and all 3 times they punted the ball.
Oh, it was 4th-and-1. Yeah, they had a 4th-and-3, 4th-and-1, like a 4th-and-2, and they were the one when they were down 9-0. I kind of get.
I would have went for it. Like you got to get some offensive going. You got to get something going here.
Well, because they were absolutely like giving up 3 field goals in Super Bowl. Like, you're still in the game, so I get it from your perspective. We're like, we got to get something going, but it's also, man, if we don't get it, short field, we don't want JSN, who hadn't been knocked out at that point of the game yet. We don't want him to go off. Like, so I kind of get it, but I'm with you. You should go for it, but I at least can understand the reasoning for not.
You got to play to win, man. Play to fucking win. Leave it all out there. Like, to be honest, let's just say if it was the Browns out there and they're punting the ball,
yeah, that's cute.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm throwing something through my TV, man. I'm not gonna lie. You gonna punt on 4th-and-1 and you're down 9-0? No, man. You're playing scared. There's no reason.
Especially because like the conversion rates are higher now, and at the same time, like if you trust your defense enough, and that's what I'm saying. I understand not doing it, because if you've held them to 9 so far, that means they've moved the ball on you, but you've been able to stifle them when things really matter. But what if we don't this time? What if we give up and now we're down 16-0? Now we're down 2 full scores going into halftime. That's where I can at least understand it. I agree with you, but at the 9-0 score point, I can at least I can sympathize with you not going for it.
Don't play scared. That's all I ask. Don't play scared. Don't coach scared.
So for you, it's just Madden. It's every 4th down, we just going for it.
No, I'm not saying every 4th down. Like I'll say, like, if you're at your own 40, it's 4th-and-2. Why not, man? You don't have to punt it every time. If you get stopped, all right. If they go down and score, there's still a second half. Make your adjustments. That's all it comes down to. It's just like a chess match.
I do think that was the one thing, and we talked about that a little bit earlier, was that the biggest problem was that there was just no adjustments.
Yeah.
It was just, we'll just line up, and don't worry, Drake will figure it out.
Like, all right, let's just say that first drive, they went 3 and out. Make your adjustment right then and there. Don't wait. Just make your adjustments. See what's going on. You know that Russ is going to be after you. So, and instead of using the running back to help
furniture.
What's that?
They were moving furniture the entire game.
Instead of using a running back to help Will, I'd have used the tight end, because that's an extra weapon out there.
Well, that's what frustrated me too, is like, you have Hooper,
you got
Henry. I don't understand why you wouldn't have done more 2 tight end personnel from the get-go, because at least then you have like option routes underneath, chip, release. You got something, and they didn't use. I've never played one down of football my entire life, but if that guy's getting his ass kicked off the line every time, I might want to get a little creative.
Listen, it was so bad for Will Campbell. He false started, right? Like, you got an extra second before the rush even got to you.
And you still got cooked.
He still got pushed back into Drake Maye. And I'm just like, huh? How is this happening, man? Like, you're supposed to stand your ground, man. You're a left tackle. You're supposed to be the best of the best up there on the offensive line. And
that man is about 14 days away from getting relegated to right guard and having to move up the depth chart to left guard.
I've seen so many people say that he's a guard. I'm just like, man, he was a top 5 pick in this past draft. And I even said it up there on Facebook. I can see how Myles Garrett had 5 sacks against the Patriots. Because he was going up and down that whole offensive line, just giving them the work. And I'm just like, that's another thing for Josh. Like, make your adjustments. Make it sooner, man. Don't get your quarterback killed out there. And I read that he got sacked, 21 times throughout these playoffs.
Postseason.
That's
Now, and I want to kind of segue now into exactly why I'm really glad that Drake Maye didn't get regular season MVP, because I know you and I both know like there technically isn't a strength of schedule that helps you in the NFL. Like once the season's done, we can retroactively look back and go, you had the easy schedule or whatever the case might be, or when the season starts, we're looking at it from the previous season, so we're looking at it from that angle. So technically, strength of schedules matter, and there is no power rankings, regardless of what Stephen A. wants to say. But competition still matters.
yes.
And so if he would have been named MVP, that to me would have just been once again showing it's the laziest goddamn way that we do sports in this country of quarterback, or especially NFL, best quarterback on the best record, MVP.
Yep.
It's so dumb. I'm so glad he didn't win for that reason alone. I
agree. He was one vote away from I'll say one vote from tying Matthew Stafford.
That is crazy to me.
And the one guy who voted for Justin Herbert, he gave a first place vote to Justin Herbert. And he was up there explaining why.
Josh Allen got one too. Josh Allen I think he got one or two first place votes, and that was like,
this is the reason why, like, I think for all four major sports, if you are a media member, sportscaster that has an MVP or a Hall of Fame vote, it should be publicly broadcast, publicly announced, letting everybody know who voted for who, so we know who to go after. Like with this whole Bill Belichick thing, you only had 50 voters. And you mean to tell me, like, I'm hearing that everybody comes out and say, "Oh, I voted for Bill." Yeah, if you really voted for him, he'd have been into the Hall of Fame here. Yeah,
I think that's an interesting point, because it's weird because like you're not supposed to talk about who you voted for, right? That you're supposed to keep that a secret. But I think that nowadays you kind of tell on yourself regardless.
Yeah. But Bill Polian was sat up there. At first, he said,
I don't remember.
And then that's when he comes out and said, "Oh, I voted for Bill." No, man. Just, you can be honest. You can be honest here, man. It's okay.
I'll tell you this right now. I do believe that if they had to disclose their actual votes, I guarantee you people who had those votes they wouldn't flaunt the fact that they are voters.
Yep. Because then
because they love having the clout
from the fans. You're gonna hear the backlash from the fans.
Yep.
And then let's just say if whatever station that you're working with, it could cost you your job, man. Because they'd be like, "Oh man, we just find this to be a funny vote. He didn't vote for this guy because of this a personal reason." I get it that everybody wants to have a moral, stand ground here, but at the same time, I'm just like, the man won 8 Super Bowls in his coaching career. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, man.
It's so weird because I know that me personally, I always go back and forth on what I deem important, because the core values never really changed, but it's the he won 8 Super Bowls. Well, he's at first ballot. Then like, we did cheat. I don't put Deflategate to me is like the most ridiculous thing that anybody could hold against anybody in my entire life. That to me harbors no weight whatsoever.
Yeah. To me, all right, in my opinion, I'm blaming Tom more than I'm blaming Bill. Bill doesn't control the footballs. Tom does. Because
I just don't understand why. If it's the same footballs, like,
yeah, it's just a little lighter because he can throw it a little further. I'm like, nah. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I have ran into a Deflategate situation. This is probably about 20 years ago. My guy Scott, we're playing in this flag football tournament. We're wondering how the hell this guy is throwing the football 50 yards on the line accurately, and I'm just like in tight coverage. I'm like, how is he doing it? So somehow, some way, we got an interception, and we found out saying it was a football that was a little light. So then the very next season, the tournament director says, "You guys got to start using official footballs." this like we was sitting up here like I still bullshit with Scott to this day about it. Like, hey, you was using you football against us, man. That's how you end up beating us. Like we went into like triple overtime that game, and somehow
That was
somebody
Scott Brady.
listen. It was like 4th and 25, and he throws like a 40-yard bomb for a touchdown to beat us. I was so mad. I was like, there is no way, and they ended up winning the whole damn tournament.
But did it bother you that much when you found out there was deflated footballs?
No,
or was just the fact that he beat y'all?
Yeah, it was the fact that he beat us with it. That was it.
That was it. Yeah, the cheating thing when it comes to Belichick, it's always just been kind of a weird. I don't know. Every team does it. Sometimes you get caught, sometimes you don't. I don't know. The cheater still won. They didn't take anything away from him. Like that, I feel like that's
what I said. I'm like, are they going to take those Super Bowl titles away from them? Because if you're not, then it's just water under the bridge.
Man. No, this ain't USC football. Speaking of USC football, that is how we segue into. I put into the chat. I feel like Sam Darnold should just retire, and I know he won't. I know he won't because there's still too much money for him to be made at the quarterback position. But to me, it just makes too much sense, man. Don't get smacked. You're from USC. You play for the Seahawks. You won a Super Bowl. Fox News is going to be gobbling you up, and you're going to get all the prime games. You're going to be Tom Brady before Tom Brady even.
I was going to say they gave him $375 million. I'll say this. I'll say $200 million. They give him $200 million. Now I'm thinking about just going ahead and I'll do it.
So the thing is that I don't know if he will be great. That's the whole thing. So when Tom first got into the booth, now you know my stance on
people were killing him. They were killing him.
Oh, for sure. And the thing for me is that I said when he first got into the game of broadcast, I'm like, he's not going to be good, and that's okay. Mostly because people are still going to watch him because he's Tom Brady. If you love Tom Brady, you're going to watch because it's Tom Brady. Yep. I'm somebody who doesn't care about who's calling the game. I'll watch if I want to watch the game. But those are practice reps. And he's gotten very good at what he does. And Sam's been, he's been in front of the media for the last 10, 12 years, going back to when he was a kid, so he knows how to speak in front of a microphone. I think that I feel like he'd be better from the start than Tom Brady was. But would he get the Tom Brady money up front? No, because he's not the name that Tom Brady is.
Nah. But going to Fox Sports, I could see it happening. CBS, NBC, ABC. I don't see ESPN doing it because ESPN, they got too much money thrown up out there as it is.
Well, I mostly say Fox just because they love the Southern California and like the West Coast kind of things, like because Fox has they have all the Seahawks games. At least from me being in Alaska, we get all the Seahawks games, the Packers games, Cowboys, Niners. Those things are on repeat. So if you're already from that division and won a Super Bowl, and you know that the Southern California district loves you because you went to USC as well, that to me is just like it's a checkbox, because that gig may not come around again, especially if he goes back to being Sam Darnold. Yeah. But he's gonna milk this for another crazy bonkers contract. I know he is.
I think heading to next year, he's only making $33 million, and let's just say if he can go out and play at a high level again, he can go ahead.
You hesitate.
Go ahead and stack that up again. Stack it up again. That's why, I look at Baker Mayfield. Like he restructured his contract with the Buccaneers, so after next season he can be a free agent. So he's trying to see if he can parlay it into being a $50-60 million quarterback. And I'm like, nah, bro, I don't see it there.
Now I think once you get to a certain level of your career, because one of the reasons why people are paying you that kind of absurd money is because of the upside, because you have the longevity still in front of you. But once you hit a certain age, that it's not as enticing to want to throw that kind of money around. So, and especially when you had the track record of what it was beforehand, it's hard to shake that stigma completely. And I know that Super Bowl champion Sam Darnold is a great way of putting things, but I don't think that anyone's going to offer him a max contract coming up. I know he's still under contract, so it's kind of irrelevant unless they want to re-sign him. But I feel like that's actually on the board too. I feel like they would probably re-sign, like you said, with the salary cap and percentages. I feel like it's totally on the board where they would re-sign him and give him like a 3-year 150 deal.
Ooh.
I could see it happening, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right. I could see his agent going to the Seahawks and be like, hey, you guys want to re-up here? I mean, especially coming off the Super Bowl.
Same time.
You already know teams will want to do that. But at the same time, I look at those defensive players over there for Seattle. I'll say if I have a year or two left, I'm going to the organization like, hey, what can we do here?
That's a good point because a lot of their players are still not even just on the defense, but most of their defensive players are the reasons why they got to where they are. And I want to talk a little bit about the whole carrying thing in a moment as well. But yeah, man, those defensive dudes, they're going to want to eat. And if they've got 2 years left in their contract, they're going to have to reproduce again, which is kind of unfortunate because
now you're gambling on yourself to see if you can stay healthy and produce.
Exactly.
Ugh. It's a cold game, man. It's a cold game.
It's a cold world. But that's actually, before we get to the draft stuff that you were looking at in your mock drafts, I had put up, actually 2 things. So remember when you were last on and I basically said that Josh Allen was a Luka of professional football?
Yes.
You thought it was pretty eloquent? Well, I had said that when it's all said and done, Drake Maye is going to be the Tom Brady of Josh Allen's, and that seemed to go over a lot of people's heads. Do you have any opinion on that?
When I seen that, I could do like, listen, I had just clocked into work. I just sat down and I'm reading these comments and I'm just like, is anybody putting 2 and 2 together here?
No, because you have to spell it out for the kindergartners out there.
Because when you use Josh Allen, they automatically think that you're just throwing Josh under the bus here. And then to bring up Tom Brady, I'm just like, they're not thinking. They're not thinking.
No, because the way that I looked at it is like, if I just want people to use their minds because it feels like too many people are just so addicted to the device in front of them that the critical thinking has just kind of lost its poignancy, you know? So when I said that Drake Maye could be the Tom Brady of Josh Allen's, that just means that, all right, well, Drake Maye made it to a Super Bowl. Josh Allen hasn't been to one. So ipso facto, Tom Brady of it, because at least he's been to one.
Yeah.
And the excuses have been so high for Drake Maye. You get all the praise, and then once you lose, you have all the excuses for him. It's just, to me, it's just when everything's said and done, Drake Maye might have 2 Super Bowls and Josh Allen might have 0 or 1. The way they play, the way that they compare each other on broadcast, he's a not quite as talented, not quite athletic Josh Allen. Then Drake Maye's a Tom Brady of Josh Allen's. I feel like it's a pretty easy way to, if you really want to compartmentalize it, I feel like it's a pretty accurate assessment.
You hit the nail up there in the head. But people, like you said, they don't like to think. They read the caption and they come up with their own suggestion to it. And I'm just like, did you think about what was said here before you commented? And now
you don't have to agree with it, but did you at least think about it? No. That's all I'm asking, is that people think.
Nope. Critical thinking is gone these days, man.
They took our gerbs and they took our Super Bowl.
But I was happy that the Patriots lost, though. I was happy because I'm just like, we all know if the Patriots would have won, everybody and their mama would have had Drake Maye as a top 3 elite quarterback.
Oh my God. And it wouldn't have mattered. If he still looked like cheeks and they won, that would have been it. Well, he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And you're right. It would have been ad nauseum that Drake Maye is a top 3 quarterback. And I would have had an insufferable work week or work year. Because I'm one of the sales managers at my spot. The other sales manager who works directly next to me, 4 feet away, is a Pats fan. And I would have heard it every single day.
You would have heard it every day until next season started.
I actually texted him because I told you I had to work on Super Bowl Sunday. So I was supposed to work at 10 o'clock on Monday. So I texted him. I was like, hey, man, you want me to open for you so you can sleep off that Super Bowl L? He's like, no, man, I'll be in at 9. Don't you worry about me. I'm like, whatever, man.
Hey, I know he's probably hurting.
He was hurting. Well, the thing is, like, where I live, like, there's also a lot of people who think that they're football fans, but it's just they enjoy the experience of the Super Bowl, which is fine. But it's just, I work with a bunch of people who are like Seahawks, and it's just, man, you don't know anybody besides Russell Wilson. And it's just, I don't know. I got in trouble with my wife one day, and I want to move on. It's anecdotally, we had somebody over for dinner, and they're like, we're huge Seahawks fans. This was back in my jerk days. Like when you and I first kind of met each other online, I was getting really involved in social media, and I was tapping back on people. We had somebody over at the house. We had them over for dinner, and they're like, we're huge Seahawks fans. I was like, really? When did you become fans? And they had no answer. I'm like, I'll take that as your Russell Wilson Super Bowl. And I asked them, name me 5 players besides like Russell Wilson,
Richard Sherman, and everybody.
And I was like, oh, just name me anybody. Well, we don't. Oh, but you're huge fans. I was such a jerk. Like I'm glad I'm not that person anymore. But man, I had a moment.
Yeah, you're not real fans. You're fake fans.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Looking back, I also know that it was just a little bit of me with my hostility because Tyrod Taylor hadn't brought us the promised land quite yet. He finally did, and I got a little bit.
Listen, man, I'll never forget. I think it was that week 16, week 17 game. You guys needed to win.
Cincinnati.
To make the playoffs. And when that happened, I was like, man, I'm so happy. Buffalo is in the playoffs, man. They can make some noise here. The very next.
And then they faced Jacksonville.
Played Jacksonville.
13-10.
Why did I do this, man? Why did I put my hopes behind them, man? I jinxed them.
No, and the whole thing is like, it's not you. That was the first time in years that I felt genuine joy as a Bills fan. Because like I knew that offense, most specifically that offensive roster, was absolute doo-doo butter. Yeah. It was like a broken LaShawn McCoy. It was a broken Charles Clay. You had good burger Kelvin Benjamin. Like it was just a
good burger.
It was just an awful offensive roster. And Tyrod went ahead and made this thing happen. And they got beat by Jacksonville, but yeah, no, it was that was probably the funnest game. That was the most fun I had watching a Bills game in a very, very long time, even though it ended in an L.
It was I'll say that was a good season for you guys. Especially nobody had you guys going to the playoffs that season. Nobody did.
No.
Everybody thought you'd be
as they shouldn't
for the number 1 pick.
As they shouldn't.
But at the same time, it, like you said, a broken offense, but that defensive tackle of Kevin
Williams.
Yeah, Kevin Williams. In which I talked about
Kyle Williams.
Kyle Williams. But I told my one guy, he's a Bills fan. I'm like, man, he should be in a ring of honor because he did a lot of heavy lifting.
He scored their last offensive touchdown, I think, in the regular season, I believe.
It just comes full circle, man. And I was just like, for that coaching job, that's a hell of a coaching job.
That's I actually forget who was Doug Marrone their coach that year?
Yep.
Ugh, I never thought I had anything good to say about Doug Marrone.
When he got fired from the Bills, he went to Jacksonville.
Yeah. Doug Marrone isn't he the quarterback's coach for the Pats? He's on the Pats coaching staff. I know that much.
He's up on there. He's an offensive analysis. So pretty much he's just up there helping them out.
Of course he is. He couldn't win in Buffalo. You can't win in New England. Take that, you jerk. Sorry, I'm still
no, man, you good. It's personal. Like I'm not gonna lie. Let's just say if Kevin Stefanski would have went to the Steelers or the Bengals or the Ravens, it'd have been personal. I'd be like, dude,
if Stefanski would have went to the Steelers or the Ravens, I think would have been more. That would have been more irritating for you, I think.
And let's just say if he'd have won the Super Bowl with them, do you know how much
first year, like it was Stafford going to the Rams, first year in Baltimore,
and that's what I'm worried about with Jesse Minter. He's going back to Baltimore. he doesn't have to do anything to the offense. All he has to do is fix the defense. And let's just say if it's a top 10 defense and they have a top 10 offense, they're dangerous, man. They're very dangerous. But it all comes down to Lamar being healthy.
It's if Baltimore doesn't get off to, because they've had awful starts defensively the last couple of years, if they can just not get off to being a bottom quarter defense and just be mediocre at the beginning, just be middle of the line, even if that's the way that you start and progress, that's one thing. But the whole Lamar being healthy thing is weird to me. I feel like there was more to it than just the injuries, but I feel like you got what caused the injuries out of the building with Harbaugh. I feel like there was and I'm not there, I obviously don't know for certain, but two-time MVP quarterback is going to beat coach who's been there for 20 years and a single win season every time, I believe.
Yeah, and that's another thing, that the owner chose the quarterback over the head coach. Normally, it's always the head coach over the quarterback. So
it typically is, especially with honestly, and I know we can't do this because it's not how life. Different timeline where Lamar's still the same age and Harbaugh is 10 years younger and still has a Super Bowl. Maybe they pick Harbaugh over Lamar, maybe, but because the coaching stint was so long and Lamar's still in the prime, I feel like that's what really kind of more than anything else.
It was the same thing with McCarthy. McCarthy with Aaron Rodgers. They chose Aaron Rodgers over McCarthy. McCarthy goes to Dallas. Had some decent seasons, but I mean, Aaron never won anything. I mean, he won MVPs, but he never took the team back to a Super Bowl.
It is kind of crazy that with the way that we talk about Aaron Rodgers, the fact that he only has the one Super Bowl and also just the one appearance.
Mm-hmm. You would think then he would have had maybe 3 or 4, especially with the regular season that he had.
At least appearances.
Yeah, but with the postseasons, that's like, I get that people want to blame like the organization and the teammates of his. No, it's on him. I think they lost 3 or 4 times at home to the 49ers. I think they lost one.
Cap beat the brakes off him.
Yeah, killed him. Lost to Tampa Bay with Tom Brady in the NFC Championship game. So I'm just like, there's no excuse here. It's on you, my guy. You got to lead them. You don't have to be perfect, but you just got to win.
There's 2 things about Aaron Rodgers that I've always felt kind of interesting is that, one, it feels like he purposely doesn't want the best team around him so that he can have a fall because he knows how great he individually is.
Yep.
And 2, y'all should have been a little bit worse every single year. Stop playing home games in Wisconsin when it's -10 and the whole offense is predicated upon you throwing the ball, bro.
Yep.
Take a road game. Go to the warm weather. Go to a dome.
I was gonna say build a dome, man. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
So the other talking point I want to get to before your draft stuff is, so I had posted earlier about, again, making people think about things, was I better hear the same energy about Sam Darnold being carried as I did Jalen Hurts. Because when Jalen Hurts won his Super Bowls, it was loud talk about he's the weakest link and got carried. With Darnold, it was, well, he was just good enough. He had a great regular season. It's a good story. And as much as people are still saying, they're still giving credit to the defense, I understand that. But we are not gauging it with the same temperature that we did when it was Hurts versus Darnold. And the disingenuous of that is what I have. It can be the same talking point, but we're not hitting it with the same level of enthusiasm.
Of course not. Of course not. Like, all right, let's just say if Darnold beat Mahomes in the Super Bowl, you know they're going to use that he got carried. It was all the defense. It was the running game. Okay, the San Francisco game in the divisional round, that was just an onslaught. Everything, all three phases
Oh,
was hitting.
Matt Hasselbeck right now could have gone out there and won that game for him.
The NFC Championship game, I can say he won that one, but for this Super Bowl,
Right.
he got carried. They went one out of 5 in the red zone against the Patriots. That's like if you go 3 out of 5, that's a hell of a lot better. But 1 out of 5, you better be lucky you got that defense, and you better be lucky that Kenneth Walker was doing all that heavy lifting.
And had a 40-yard touchdown that was called back.
And that would have
My draft
lineup. I had Kenneth Walker anytime touchdown, and I'm thinking like he got it. Nope, took that shit right back.
I had Kenneth Walker, the Seahawks defense, and their kicker, but I whiffed because I also had
JSN.
No, I had both quarterbacks on one of my leagues.
Oh, that's nasty.
Yeah. I lost out on 50 grand by a couple points, but a couple points goes you from 50 grand down to 200 real quick.
I was going to say, you know how it goes, man.
I do.
You be up there, you looking at it, you like, man, I'm feeling good.
Refresh.
Yep. As soon as you refresh it, you got that drop menu just taking your name down.
It's awful.
Like, damn.
It's awful. But when we first got on, you were watching some mock draft stuff. What's most intriguing to you going into the 2026 draft, either for your Cleveland Browns or just what's the buzz?
I wanted to see. We all know that Mendoza's going number 1 to the Raiders.
Do you believe that firmly, or do you think that they'll trade down?
Oh, no, they're not trading down. They're not.
Okay.
If they'd had a defensive head coach, yeah, I can see a trade down. But with Kubiak going there.
Oh, that's fair.
He's gonna want his guy. He's gonna say Mendoza's my guy, in which the same system that Mendoza ran in college is the same system that Kubiak runs in the pros, in which I'm like, that's a match made in heaven. So I wanted to see where the Ohio State players were going. I wanted to see the Browns draft the offensive lineman and a wide receiver. That happened. But I also wanted to see who was taking a quarterback in the first round. But they had the Steelers taking Todd Simpson from Alabama. And I'm like, I don't see that, but okay.
Well, speaking of not the trade deadline, but just moves and picks that would happen. And as somebody who is obviously, like, Myles Garrett isn't going anywhere, but Max Crosby is getting a lot of buzz this offseason.
Yep.
What do you think? One, what do you think the legitimate market is for him? And two, if there is one, who would be the one to actually make the move? Because Buffalo's name has been swirling around this a lot, and I wouldn't do that. One, you don't really have the picks, or any player you'd give up. You're already bad on defense. You give another defensive player to be bad someplace else. For his age and contract, I just don't think it's worth it for Buffalo. But that's just me.
No. The place I can see him going is Dallas. I can see Dallas trading one of their first round picks because they have to. The Jets have to. The Browns have to. The Rams have to. And that's another team I can see because
the Rams have 2 first round draft picks?
Yeah, they have the Falcons' first round pick.
Huh. Dude, that'd be nasty.
That would be nasty if they can get Max Crosby. Because I don't see Jared Verse as a premier pass rusher. Like, he has one good move. Outside of that, stonewall. So I can see him going there. But the thing is that once he gets traded, he's going to want a new contract. So are you willing to give him?
Crosby's what, 28?
29?
29? Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. Like, I understand why people hold out and why players hold out because they want to get their money. Because, get yours while you can.
I was going to say you got to get it while you can, man, because at the end of the day, let's just say if you do not have that, you don't have that all-pro or Pro Bowl type season, the organization going to come to you and be like, listen, you can restructure your contract or we're going to cut you. And 9 times out of 10, if you're not taking that restructure, they cutting you.
Well, the other problem you run into as well is that, and that's the thing is that when you're in a managerial position, like I'm in no position as far as the way that these owners are, but it's also when you're in a place of power like a coach, it's well, I got this out of you. I can get this out of anybody.
Yeah.
Like why pay you? We gave you a contract. You should be grateful that we gave you that. You can go make it someplace else, and we'll just build another one of you in the lab. And I feel like that's the question you put on players.
Yep. That's what Jerry Jones. Look at Jerry Jones, how he did with Michael Parsons. Because he was just like, oh, you don't want to take this contract? All right, cool. I'll trade you because I know I can get another one of you guys back in here.
Well, I think what's so funny about that specific trade, and I'm glad you brought that up, is that this is how fickle sports takes are and how fickle like the sports community is. Like when it was done, it was Jerry Jones is an idiot. And then you got to see George Pickens with an actual quarterback and go, this might actually work. And then you see the other trade that they made. And then you get to a point of, hey, maybe Jerry Jones does know what he's doing. Don't give that man any credit for the one thing that kind of worked for maybe 120 days. Like that's
no credit.
Wild to me. And then Micah gets hurt, and then it's back to justifying the trade again. And it's
I was just like, who's to say that he would have got hurt in Dallas?
Right. And that because like when it comes to those types of injuries, there is no way to predict that is going to happen to you.
Yeah.
There just isn't. Like unless you played for like the Phoenix Suns back in the early 2000s, then you was always going to get hurt and nobody could help you. Yeah,
that is true. So
Nigel said Jerry isn't smart enough to pull that off. He'll trade a first for some MFers who won't help us at all.
Nigel's right. He's right because Jerry, the way that he thinks money. He thinks money 24/7. He thinks that, and he also thinks ratings. What can I do to bring ratings to my team? Bring more attention to my team.
Well, because you think about it, like, and that's the thing that what bugs me the most. Again, we talked about people being able to critically think. Like a lot of these guys, when they use this, like the winning doesn't always matter. It's what if it doesn't make dollars, then it doesn't make sense. So even the trading of Micah Parsons works from a monetary standpoint of Cowboys are back on your screen everywhere that you turn, and it still keeps him in the buzz. It still keeps Jerry Jones, and like that's an ego thing too. It's not just monetarily; it's how you view your own self-worth. Oh, they're talking about my team and what I did, regardless of how ridiculous it seems. They talk about me and what I did.
That is true. That is true. That's why, like, I hear Browns fans, well, we should have traded Miles last season. I'm like, what was you gonna get for Miles? We was gonna get some low-end first-round picks for him. If you're gonna trade a premier player like that, you gotta at least get one of those first-round picks. Got to be a top 10 pick.
Do you think that would have actually was that ever on the board for Cleveland? Do you think?
After Miles put that, from what I was told, once he had put out that trade request, the Browns were just like, we're gonna field offers, but they weren't serious. They were never serious. They kept going to Miles and like, listen, we can give you this much money here, and we can just go from there. And Miles took the money.
I mean, it's really hard to turn down that much money, regardless. Because I mean, you can buy a house anywhere. You just Like that's the argument that like I feel like the dummies just do. Like, why would you want to live in Cleveland? You don't have to live there, dog. Like you can also that's enough money to live in 2 places.
He got enough money to live in multiple places, man.
Yeah.
Like he still has his place down in Texas.
And I'm sure, yeah, of course, I'm sure that he does. It when it comes to like when you mentioned like the at least the top 10 pick, I feel like that's where we start to like for if the Bills, and this is where we're really kind of again, we're splitting hairs on the direction of players and salaries and stuff. But if you were to tell me I had to give up the exact same amount of compensation and give Max Crosby a max contract deal or the same amount of compensation, regardless of how many first rounders it is, if I had that capital to get Myles Garrett, I would absolutely want Myles Garrett in a country mile over Max Crosby.
Of course. Of course. I mean, Myles, in my opinion, he's still ascending. He's still getting better, in which I thought he reached his. I thought he reached his
2
ceiling
years ago.
2 years ago when he first won it, but him breaking his sack record, and I'm just like, there's a chance that he can threaten it again next season because the way that he gets off the ball, in which he has a perfect timing to his rush moves, and that's how he ended up breaking the sack record.
So to get out on this particular talking point, would you be sad if he got traded?
No.
Would you be sad if he got traded in division?
Yes. Because now I'm going to be like, if we're not getting 5 first-round picks from that team, I'm gonna go find Jimmy, and I'm gonna make sure that he hears from me.
He about to find out where this is at. See, that's the thing for me is like when people say you never trade in division, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that structure at all. You know, you should absolutely deal in division if they're the ones giving you the best offer.
Double. Yeah, you charge them double.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't. It's the same thing. Like I know it sounds ridiculous, and we're speaking in hyperbole here, but like if the Jets, well, because I don't like their defense, because I think their defense is going to be good, but if the Jets came to me like we want Josh Allen, like you can have him, but like you're giving me everything
that I want.
Everything.
Like that, people. I guess this is from playing Madden all the time, because they think since you could make a little trade up on the video game that can happen in real life. I'm like,
right.
No, that's not how this works.
You can't turn on rookie sliders in the actual professional sport. That's weird, dog. And the fact that people, you're right, because that's what we do. Anything that can be put in front of us and said, see, it'll work, doesn't mean it works in real life.
Yeah, the trade simulator.
No, because they don't take into consideration feelings, because feelings and egos and your overall environment and your workplace. And I've made this argument countless times. A locker room is not like in my profession. They are not the same, but it is still an ecosystem where you have to still try to find a way to get along with each other. You don't have to like each other, but there's still parallels that there's still a workforce environment and a code that people adhere to. And if you don't feel respected, that's where things start to get ugly.
Yep, I agree. That's in college football with the whole recruiting with this Neil thing. Like I don't seen so many Ohio State fans say we should have went out and got this left tackle from Colorado. We could have gave him $3 million. I'm like, yeah, you give him that $3 million. He come into that locker room with those other offensive linemen. They're gonna side out him because they're gonna be like, yeah, you're here, but you're not gonna make us better, and we don't think that you deserve that much money.
Yeah, and I think I feel like it's weird because I feel like at college, as somebody who doesn't watch a whole lot of, we've already been over that. I don't watch college football, but to me, college football is more about handling the egos, because like once you get to the NFL, like yes, the younger guys are still going to have that ego because they're a high draft pick, or they've already, now with the NIL stuff, they're coming in with that level of entitlement. And they're going in with grown men. The grown men don't care where you were. We care where you are right now. Yeah, exactly. But with college now, it really is about trying to keep people in check, because the quarterback, like you said, he might be the one getting that in between that $2 and $6 million NIL deal. And then you got your offensive guards who are making like
peanuts.
They congratulations. You're here like on scholarship. Yep. Your education's free because we know you ain't going anywhere else.
Yep.
So
that's the game these days, man. That is the game. Like I look at a few of these players, they'll give back to their teammates, in which I love seeing that. But when I see these stories that, like, I'm not gonna bring up a name, but there's a former college player. When he had got his money, they told me saying he was just at practice, got his workout in, and he was gone. He wasn't spending time with no teammates, with nobody. And I'm just like, yeah, you can maybe get away with that in the NFL for I'll say maybe for like a half a season, but other than that, those veterans in that locker room, they're gonna come talk to you then because they're gonna make sure saying everybody's up there on the same page. So that's
What's
why, like, I look at the whole what's his name, the wide receiver for the Bills,
which one? Oh, Keon Coleman.
Keon Coleman. Like when the left tackle came out speaking on the whole locker room about his actions, I'm just like, yeah, he must have just been the first. He was the first one in, and he was the last person in and the first one out. So
Yep.
he was just there. He ain't spending no time with no teammates, and he don't even care. He's just there to get his paycheck, maybe catch a few balls, and go on his way. So,
and that's where the context I think really matters, because that's the thing is like if you're the last person in, first person out, that in any industry, that shows that you don't care.
yeah,
right. Like you said, you're there for the paycheck. I'm here for me only, and I can understand to a degree the selfishness because I don't want to work for free. But it's also you clocking in and clocking out.
You got to prove yourself. You got to prove yourself.
But when you were talking about how there's like a level of like the camaraderie, like for me, I can't just go out with my other colleagues, right? Mm-hmm. Then they look at me too much like a friend and not much like
as
the manager. So there's there's a delicate balance of where you are in the hierarchy, if you will. It doesn't mean I'm better than them, but there is still if I pretend that I am your friend it's almost like parenting. I can be friendly with you, but I'm not your friend.
Exactly.
And that's the way that I look at that from that angle too.
Yep. You hit the nail on the head there.
We're just giving out life lessons here, man.
Hey, got to. I mean, we'll have some people that'll listen to this and they'll take heed to it.
I'd like to think so. Do you have any other words of encouragement or anything else for the audience before we go and hang it up for the day?
Running backs don't matter. Do not pay running backs. Do not pay a running back.
What I need to do is whenever I have you on, I want to give you like a full day heads up. And I want you to write me like some eloquent running backs don't matter movement pay, or like just like a 30-second snippet, but almost like it's stat poetry or something.
Okay.
And I'll give you a beat to do it behind. And I feel like that would do numbers. I think that'd be fun to do with you.
I do not hate running backs. Before anybody come on here and thinks that I hate running backs, I do not hate them. I would not.
Your social media presence would say otherwise, good sir.
Yeah. My thing is that you do not have to pay a running back top money. You could just run it back by committee, and you can still flourish and win.
You know what? You could also do QB by committee because we just saw Sam Darnold.
No, I'm not letting that one slide. Listen, let's just say you pull out Josh Allen and you put in Mitch Trubisky for a drive, and let's just say that drive cost you the game. What are you doing then? Who are you blaming?
Sean McDermott, even though he's not there.
I was going to say, you got to blame the head coach. You're going to blame the head coach because he made that move.
No, Sean McDermott is now going to be my new thanks Obama. He hasn't been in office in forever. I'm like, thanks McDermott.
Josh Allen throws the interception. That's McDermott's fault.
That's McDermott's fault.
Golly, man, that's a good one.
That won't be me, but I know that's going to be Bills fan, man. Bills Mafia is, after seeing that Super Bowl, the messages I was getting flooded with, Bills Mafia was crashing out. They were 100%. If that was us, we could have been a contender, all that stuff.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think they would have stood a chance against Seattle in that game, man. I really, really don't.
The only team that would have hung with Seattle is the Rams. That was the only team that could hang with them. They lost to Tampa Bay earlier in the season, but I'm not giving Baker Mayfield any credit. Fuck that guy.
No, it, and obviously, like I know that like that Super Bowl could never happen, but if we're just going I'm just mostly bringing the Bills up because I like to poke fun at people who take Josh Allen too seriously and who take the Bills as their. I feel like the Bills are not a serious outfit. And I don't feel like they ever really have been. I feel like they put up good numbers in the regular season, and people watch the Josh Allen highlights. They don't watch the actual Bills and don't see the deficiencies, and that's where I come on here and I kind of let things vent. But no, if the Bills played Seattle, if you saw how Josh Allen played against Denver with his hero ball,
It would have been
imagine
10
how it would
times
have looked
worse.
against Seattle.
Because he'd have ran into a few sacks, he'd have had a careless fumble, and a boneheaded interception.
Bro, his stat line would have been almost identical to Drake Maye. He would have looked like cheeks the first 3 quarters, and then once it's garbage time, then you see him throw for 400,000 yards, and he rushes for 40 and puts up 3 touchdowns that are meaningless. And the empty calorie stats, all of a sudden, look at him in a Super Bowl loss. Like, that would have been – I've seen this movie so many damn times.
Oh, my goodness. But you're right. Like, people seen the stats for Drake Maye. Oh, he played decent. No, you didn't watch the game, did you?
No. 92% of his yards came in the final 6 minutes.
Exactly. And it was all check down. Well, the one touchdown pass, but other than that, check down city.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that. Anyway, this has been the Playbook Podcast with Prescott Kelly. That is LaShawn Brown coming to us from can I say the great state of Ohio?
Yeah, the great state of Ohio.
For the great state of Ohio. Y'all know the drill. Like, share, subscribe, smash the 5-star review. You can find us wherever you get your podcast for free. You guys know the drill. Stay up. Stay blessed. We'll catch you guys on the next one.